I'm very glad to be here. I'm just going to open up my presentation. I was able to catch a little bit of Galen's presentation there, and I'm a proud director and shareholder of Summa Silver as well. So it's great to follow Galen here. It's kind of interesting. We have a somewhat of a similar idea here, where we're exploring for high grade silver in a camp that that's been a historic camp for many years. So I've actually just returned late last night from Mexico and was just on the ground watching our drill program. Currently, we have 7 drill rigs turning at the Panuco Copala project. We've continued to intercept some extremely high grades of silver and gold. And one of the things that I'll touch on here is that this is one of the best infrastructure projects in Mexico. We have such an aggressive exploration program. We have the potential to get into production very quickly. But it's also important to realize that this is a camp that could be a very meaningful producer in Mexico for many years, and we have a rapid way to progress it. Now, I'll be making some forward-looking statements, so please, if you're interested, take some time to read this disclaimer here. As I may have mentioned here at the beginning, our goal and our vision for Vizsla is to become a low-cost, high-margin producer of silver and gold in Mexico. We'll do that by, first of all, exploring and drilling and delineating a resource at Panuco. Following that, we'll use our infrastructure, including our permitted 500-ton per day mill and the power infrastructure in the area, to rapidly become a high-grade silver producer. We'll do that by taking care of the communities that we will operate in, as well as our company. And Gilbert, as you mentioned, we did have an excellent rise in the share price on the back of one of Mexico's highest grade discoveries in years in the summer. Right now, our shares are trading around $1.60. That gives us a $150 million market cap. For comparison's sake, other projects that have been doing very well in silver, like Silvercrest or Meg Silver, those trade at usually around a $2 billion market cap. So a lot of room to grow here. We have $25 million in the bank, and investors like Eric Sprott, For Sale, Franklin Templeton, Commodity Capital, some excellent institutional investors. And as, of course, Eric Sprott is a household name as well too. And fully diluted, we have about 123 million shares outstanding. Now, the reason that Eric and many of these other investors were drawn to the Panuco project and Vizsla Resources is because of the district that we were able to consolidate for the first time in its modern history. This has, really the history dates back to the Spanish times here. They were mining gold and silver out of these veins, sending it back to Spain. And at one point, it was part of the Mexican mines that were providing 1/3 of the world's silver and gold. Really a remarkable production story. And again, this is the first time that we've consolidated this in its modern history. And we have over 75 kilometers of total vein strike, 35 kilometers of underground mines, and we're located in a trend of very well-known mining, silver and gold mining projects, including San Dimas here, which is First Majestic's main mine. Now, when I talk about Vizsla, there's 3 things that I think are the main takeaways, the 3 things that really summarize what our opportunity is here. The first is the size of the district that we're working with here. The second is the grade of the district that we have. And the third is the pathway to production. Now, touching on the first, one of the best ways to demonstrate this is this map here, where I've taken the vein fields and I've overlaid them over major cities in the world. Now, if you're familiar with Vancouver, the far western portion of our vein field stretches from the Richmond Airport all the way to the Second Narrows Bridge. It's a massive district. If you're in London, you can see how it sits in London here, and New York as well. You can see it almost fits over the entire island of Manhattan. So just a remarkable size. And of course, these veins are the ones that we've discovered so far or know about. There's certainly potential to discover more here. Another way to look at this is, how does our vein field compare to other major producing vein fields? To the top left, we see Panuco, $155 million market cap. On the same scale bar, we see San Dimas, Zacatecas, Fresnillo, Guanajuato, and Las Chispas. Now, all of these are Mexican vein fields. All of these have a long history of silver mining, and all of these have been consolidated and explored except for Panuco. and I believe that we'll have a lot of success in exploring and developing Panuco. You can also see that these vein fields typically support significant market caps. I'll briefly touch on this. We have a lot of comparisons to San Dimas. San Dimas is 80 kilometers to the north and is First Majestic's most significant producer in terms of ounces. And it's very similar to Vizsla. I think, I was just down there with our geologist and he said to me, well, this is the same thing as a San Dimas or a Palmarejo or any of these very long-lived epithermal vein systems. The difference is that those have been explored before. So if you're interested in learning more about these type of systems, San Dimas is an excellent way to do that. Now we talk about the consolidation, and that's actually really important because this has been held by multiple families for many, many years. And these are private Mexican mining families that actually don't explore, they just mine, and it's relatively small scale mining. And so we were able to, in 2019, cut a deal with these families. I spent a year down there in Mexico negotiating with these families, and we finally got this deal done. And we finally gave us the ability to explore this entire district, which is the first time that's ever been possible. Now, as I said, I've just come back of watching the drill rigs turn 7 drill rigs across the entire district. We also have 122 exploration targets across a 14-kilometer breadth of the district. And it really is, again, back to that size, it really is remarkable. But the main focus areas here that we have are Napoleon, Cinco Señores, Cordon del Oro, and Animas. Now, looking at our discovery focus, Napoleon is the area that we've made our most significant discoveries to date. It's also the area that we're rapidly moving towards resource drilling. We've just begun grid drilling there with 3 rigs on Napoleon, 1 on Tajitos, and 2 on Cordon del Oro. So it's really aggressively moving here. So we're actually adding another one onto Napoleon just to make sure that moves quicker as well. I'll just jump back to the slide. Napoleon's the area that we're operating at resource style drilling. Tajitos is a new discovery, but that ore shoot seems to be growing and looking very good. Cordon del Oro is a really interesting vein corridor because it's very similar to Animas. Animas is on the far right of the screen there. And Animas is interesting because it has the history of the district, the center of historical mining there at Animas. And that's come off of these 8 ore shoots. And this is a good way to understand what we're targeting here for this type of vein drilling. At Animas, we have 8 ore shoots that have been responsible for the region's production, essentially. We believe that to be in excess of 100 million ounces, and it seems to have come from these 8 main ore shoots. And that's what's quite interesting because we're starting to see Cordon del Oro being a similar structure to Animas. And so for a place that's produced over 100 million ounces of silver, finding something that's similar to that in the same district is really important. Now, of course, we have 2 kilometers over Napoleon here, and we're drilling the whole vein on a grid system now. This is going to give us a huge amount of upside. And what we're aiming for is something like this here, this long section. This long section gives us an idea of the grades and the thickness, as well as the the potential for building meaningful mineralization here. Now we're rapidly moving towards a resource on Napoleon, and I believe that it will be a significant size, something that will give us a number of years of production at high grades. So at Napoleon here, we drilled one of Mexico's best holes last year, 3 meters at over 8 kilograms of silver equivalent. Now that equivalent probably would go up based on the ratios these days right now, but we are also drilling 15 meters at 450 and 11 meters at 422. So some 3-meter intercepts that are very, very high grade, and then some broader intercepts that are already just fantastic grades. That's 15 meters at 449 is really quite an impressive number as well too, and it still continues to grow. We've actually just, this isn't in the slide here, but we've just drilled the deepest hole on Napoleon, doubling the whole length of this depth of this entire ore shoot. So it's quite impressive. Now These are some photos of the rocks here, but we're also drilling the Tajitos area, which is just to the east of Napoleon, and we've made some very good discoveries there, so some exceptional high grades. Now we can go into some of these intercepts here as well, but I think what really is important is the message that we have an entire district to drill. We've had one of the best success rates of explorers in Mexico, and we're drilling grades that are spectacular. You know, if you look on this slide here, the top box on the right hand side, when we drilled Tajitos, we drilled 13 meters at 910 grams silver equivalent, and included 7.5 meters of 1600. Now this was in and around old workings, which means that this was the rock that the old miners didn't actually want to take. It was too low grade. So you can imagine what they were actually mining would be spectacular. Now, of course, this is not low grade material. This is very high grade material, but to them at that time, you know, it was something that they left behind. So I think when we get to the actual source of, or further down on the vein here at Tajitos, we'll have some excellent grades. And we're also, this is a recent discovery at Aguida-Zarca, again, just demonstrating that we're finding many occurrences with drilling of high grades of silver and gold. And our plan here is to move from identified targets through our exploration matrix here. So moving from identified target to prospecting, detailed mapping, drilling, advanced drilling, resource drilling, and basically move the 122 targets, either kill them or drill them. And as we drill them, I'm confident that we'll be able to put together meaningful resources that'll justify us exercising the option and becoming a producer very readily in the future, near term. So we will be Mexico's most aggressive junior explorer this year. We have 40,000 meters planned for the first 6 months of the year. We have a team of geologists and mappers and samplers running around these hills here, generating new targets as we speak. And we're building excellent new strong relationships within the communities, and we have an excellent exploration team. You know, it's really quite impressive what we've seen down there, and we continue to improve and grow the team. Now, as you might recall, I had 3 main points for this presentation. The first is the size of the district, and I think I've demonstrated that with not only the amount of targets that we have, but also comparing the size to other places in the world. The second was the grade. Of course, you know, we continue to drill and discover and put into resources very high grades of silver and gold. And the third is the pathway to production that sets us apart from any other discovery story. This is the reason why we could move very easily from, you know, 150 million market cap today to something that's more comparable to other producers in Mexico. That is to say, a significant increase in market cap. And that's through this 500 ton per day mill and tailings that we have on the project. And we have payment terms where we can make these payments over time out to 2022 until we have a major payment of $2.6 million, and that goes out until 2026. So we have a lot of time to exercise the option to purchase this mill and move into production. However, it's something that I could see us doing a lot sooner and consolidate the district, finally own it 100%, and be in production rapidly. Now the mill actually is in operation today. It's all set up and can run very quickly. We have an excellent team. Some of you may recognize some of these names here. Craig Perry, Next Gen Energy, Li Kai-shing backed company that Craig Perry was one of the founders of, and perhaps some may recognize him as the chairman of Skeena. He and I are business partners. We have created a number of companies together, and this is one of our main focuses here. And then we also have someone who's quite impressive, Simon Swerlick, our director, is also the COO of Ausenco Engineering, which is one of the world's best mine builders. They're actually building Silvercrest Las Chispas right now. So we have great company in our group here, and you know, we're looking forward to making Vizsla a huge success. Now again, as I said, we're very well funded with about $25 million in the bank. We have 5 drill rigs turning currently, and we'll spend a significant amount of money this year drilling. But again, those 3 major points: the grade, we have spectacular grades here; size, we have a district that'll go on, as we put it into production, the size lets us know that we'll have a significant amount of production for many, many years. And as we're successful, we can buy that production. We can buy that mill and move into production faster than, let's say, any other company out there. So it's a very exciting opportunity. I think this is one of the best silver opportunities in Mexico. And I invite you to either reach out to me or look into becoming a shareholder. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So let's address a few questions here. The first one coming from Joseph. He's asking, do you see Vizsla coming out with a maiden resource estimate?
Well, certainly, certainly we are doing resource drilling at Napoleon, and there's the potential that towards the end of the year we would be ready to put out a resource. Well, I should actually go back and say that what we're looking for here when we're drilling these ore shoots, we're looking for 10, 20, 30 million ounces of silver equivalent in these ore shoots. And so, if we were to be comparable to, say, Silvercrest, who put out about a 50, I believe it was about 50 to 60 million ounce resource initially, that would probably be something that we could target towards the end of the year. Although I'm not saying that we'll definitely do it by then.
Sure. This one from Seth. Are there any acquisitions slated for 2021?
You know what? It's funny. Like I said, I just spent some time in Mexico, and we're many opportunities are presented to us often. But what's really interesting is, well, do we want to give up any of the Panuco district to buy something else? And I don't see anything out there that's as good as the Panuco district. So we're kind of focused on Panuco ourselves.
Sure. So let's take one last question here from John. John K. saying, saw the videos of the Panuco site. Are there any difficulties in building a mine in that type of terrain?
It's quite, it's something we were reminded about as we went back to the project recently here. And, it's spectacular. There's two highways that go through the project. There's a mill site already there. There's tailings. There's high tension power that literally cut over your head through the project. 45 minutes away from Mazatlán, which is a million-person city that's the resort town. So it couldn't be better infrastructure. It's really quite funny that we're lucky enough to have this high-grade mineralization so close to all this infrastructure.
So thank you, Michael, for sharing an update on your story of Vizsla Resources with us here today.
Thank you, Gilbert. I appreciate that.